So, I just watched a Flat Earth documentary, and I'm not sure where I stand on life. I don't really mean that, because I know where I stand on life because hashtag science. So Doug last week mentioned that I need to watch, is it called Behind the Curve?
Behind the Curve.
Behind the Curve. Watch it on Netflix. It's an incredibly interesting documentary. Uh, the production company does an amazing job keeping a neutral third-party approach, and they do a documentary on flat earthers, and they go to a flat earth convention and all this stuff. And there's an interesting part about 2/3 of the way through that I really wanted to talk about because it actually looped its way back into Doug and I's conversation today with next week's guest, in terms of advocacy and how does flat Earth have to do with bikes and with any relevance to any sort of humanity. And by the way, I do believe the Earth is round, because again, science. So there's a section that's getting towards the end of the documentary, and you have this dichotomy developing, or this juxtaposition of one block apart of each other. There's a gathering of NASA scientists, and they're having just like a happy hour, and there's a gathering of flat Earth people that are gathering to meet this Mark Sargent guy, who's like we'll call him the Jesus of flat Earth, and they do a really good job of contrasting the two parties, because flat earthers, they believe what they believe. They've created a community around it, and you cannot deny that, because there's so much involved with community. It's why you guys listen to our show. It's why we ride bikes. It's a lot of the reason why we do anything as humans is we look for community and we look for family. And the science community was one of the scientists got up and he gave a big lecture about how science has failed. Science has failed the flat earthers at some point in their education, because at some point they lost the plot, and they kind of jetted off on their own path and are trying to find their own solutions to what the Earth is, to what the universe is all about, but they still had the curiosity, because in this documentary they go through all of these experiments that flat earthers are trying to do to prove that the Earth is flat, and so they still have the curiosity, but at some point they lost the science narrative along the way, and it makes you wonder, well, what happened? And this guy from NASA goes on to say that as scientists, they feel like they know a lot because they have a lot of empirical data, they have a lot of experiential data to tell them all of these things. So they feel very adamant about all of their conclusions because they have science to back them up, and they can do an experiment that's going to be the same thing every time. And if somebody disagrees with that and they say that no, what you did and what is replicatable is wrong, it's actually flat, they just write them off as being stupid, and they put them off in a corner. And that is, as a humanity, that is where we go wrong, because that's not who we are. That's not how we've gotten to where we are. That's not how the Industrial Revolution happened. That's not how any of these things happened, because when the steam shovel came along, John Henry still said that he could beat it. And you have to acknowledge that his way is still valid, because it's valid to him. And I think this is something that plays in with politics. It plays in with advocacy in terms of talking with governmental organizations and things like that, but it also just has to do with us on a day-to-day basis of understanding that just because I know something, it comes from my unique 36 years of experiences that I've had in my life, and those are unique to me. They may not be things that you've had experiences in, and for me to say that you're dumb and write you off because you've experienced something, or vice versa, because there's a lot of stuff that I don't know, and I'm dumb in a lot of ways, and I'm okay admitting that, and I kind of think it's funny sometimes. But we can't write those things off, and again, you see it in politics, and especially now with this Mueller report, where Republicans are trying to say that Democrats owe an apology to the American people and all this stuff, and it makes everybody dig their heels in the opposite direction even more, rather than what it should be doing of making people actually want to talk to each other and engage and have good debate and be productive and be pragmatic. And I think that he's been a big part of my life over the last couple weeks as my wife has fallen in love with him. But the mayor of South Bend, Pete Buttigieg, is doing exactly that. He's incredibly pragmatic. He's talking about the things that people care about, and he's not engaging in all this nonsense. And he's going on things like Fox News, and he's going on places he knows he's going to get skewered for being more of a liberal person. But that's not the point. He's trying to be a patriot. He's trying to be the best person for the job. He's trying to lead our country to come back together and to heal from all these divisions. And so what if you know something that I don't, or vice versa? And we just have to get back to a point where we're all on the same team. We're all humans. We're all trying to figure it out. We all have things that we're good at. We all have things we're bad at, and we all want to be better tomorrow than we were today. And whether you're a flat earther, or you believe the earth is round, or you believe it's a big dome, or I forget some of the other ones. Infinite plane, which is incredibly neat because that's kind of what a ball is. Thanks, Peanut Gallery. Whatever. If you like 29ers, BMX, whatever. It's all the same thing. We're all doing the same thing. So take this week, listen to somebody that disagrees with you, or listen to somebody that you've written off previously, or shoot, if you go to Fox News every morning, go to CNN just once. Go to Washington Post. Go to Breitbart. Just see what people are saying. You don't have to agree with it, but just expose yourself to what people are saying. Don't expose yourself. Just expose yourself to what people are saying, because it matters. These are conversations that people are having. Even the Alex Joneses, as much as I don't like to give him airspace, there's people that go there, and you have to understand that people are listening to this guy. So you have to calibrate yourself based on what people are digesting, and just go experience new things and have an open mind. So I'm not a flat earther. It didn't convince me, but it's an incredibly good documentary that you should go watch. So it's Behind the Curve. Go watch it on Netflix. And that's it for me for episode 12 this week. So I'll see you guys next week. Peace.